All right, we are going to try to give you an idea of the data transfer process. We have our data broken down into Excel documents. Not a lot of the data in the Excel is needed to be captured in the Excel, but this is our starting point. So for the example I'm showing you today, it's going to be a new listing, and then I'll do another one for a listing sold and another one for just a buyer controlled pending. So I have filtered all of my data so that it is just listings, active status listings. I'm going to look at this property 28 Bahama Avenue in Key Largo. So that's where I'm going to get started. I'm going to move that document out of my way, and I am going to look at our old instance of SkySlope, and I'm going to try to set these up so we can see both of them at once. All right, so our old instance of SkySlope is where we're going to get the data from, and we're going to migrate it over to the new instance. So I'm going here, I'm going to search here, 28 Bahama. There it is, 28 Bahama Avenue. It's in an active status, which is good. If we would find that this is moved to pending, the process changes. So for this recording, it is just for properties that still remain active in the old instance, which is in gold, versus the new instance, which is in a gray. So I'm going to open up that property, and I'm going to click on listing, and then I'm going to go into the new instance. I'm going to go into manage listings. And of course, I would generally be working on dual monitors, not using it this way, but for the recording, we're doing it this way. I'm going to go to create listing. SkySlope has a program called Sky. She is a file assistant. We're going to go to enter the listing. I'm going to always go to address lookup, and from there, I can either type or drop in the address. I prefer to drop in the address off of the Excel document. If I can get it to copy, that is. And there it is. I select it from the bottom. You have to be very careful to make sure that there's no unit number on this property, or you would be grabbing the wrong data. So I've got an exact match from what they have selected. Depending upon the state, we may be linking with our local MLS. Just varies. It says next, let's start with the agent. So I have the first old instance open. And so I see that the agent's name is Lucy Doyle. So I'm going to type that in, go to next question. This is a Florida residential listing. I see that down here, Florida residential listing. I can see that the price is $895,000. I, at this point, can see the commission is down at the bottom. It is at a 3%, 3%. And on this particular one, if there was a co-list, I would see that information right here. On this one, there's not. If there was, I would click on the add, type in the agent's name, select them, and go continue on. It's asking for a listing date, which is also on this screen. So it was listed on January 25th of 2022, and it expires on July 24th of 2022. I go to next question. It's now asking for who is the seller. The seller is a trust. So for that particular one, I'm going to, excuse me, switch to a company seller. and I am going to copy that, paste that in there. If it was just an individual seller, I would put in their first name, their last name. If I need to add additional sellers, I would do so. I'm going to go to next question. I get a review of the data. If that's the one I want, I'm going to go to create my listing. At this point, SkySlope creates a unique property address that we are capturing and dropping into our Excel. So I'm going to right click on that Excel, and for whatever reason in the copy mode, it is acting a little funky, but I'm going to drop that in here in my Excel. As you can see, I just pasted it into that new property address field. I actually pasted it into the wrong one. I'm going to get rid of that. And all right. So now, unfortunately, when Sky does the file creation, she doesn't capture all of the information that we need. So once I clicked, yes, that was, everything looked correct. It brought me to this screen and I am not ready for this screen. I need to click back on listing. And from there, I'm going to check to see if there is an MLS number in the original platform. There is not on this particular one. If there was, I would paste that in. I can also go, I need to go down to source. So the source for this is other. So I'm going to need to update source to other. And then I need to enter the details, and it says that it's my neighbor. And at that point, I noticed that the year built is missing. So I'm going to add the year built. There's no file number. There's no additional information. There's no transaction fees, but I'm going to look at each of those fields to make sure I have an exact match. Be very careful in looking to make sure that the street name is spelled properly. All right, so next we're going to go to next on both of the screens. From there, I'm going to look at my seller. So the agent actually entered this incorrectly because it was a trust. It should have been as a company name. But in this process, whatever they do, you do. If they do it wrong, leave it wrong. I made the correction because I know better. So for this seller, I'm going to copy the email address and I'm going to paste that over. And I'm going to see if there's a phone number. So this agent, as is typical, they put in a bogus phone number because they did not have the right phone number when they were creating it. So I'm also going to put in Zibrin as the seller's last name. I'm going to click save on both screens. And I'm also going to look on my original instance, the old SkySlope, and make sure that there is not another seller. There could be. If there, at that point, you would click on new seller and add the new seller. You click save on both platforms, and then the next button is to go to submit on both platforms. All right, so now we are looking at our checklist. Our checklists are not identical on both platforms. We have old checklists that have been updated, but for the most part, there's not been an issue with trying to figure out where to assign those documents. So we have both instances open. I'm going to go to my old platform. I'm going to click on documents. This one here only has 4 documents. The documents will vary from 1 document to 50 documents. So all 4 of these documents need to be transferred over to this platform. The way we do that is we copy that email address. We click on email, drop it in there. I did not copy it. And from there, I'm going to put in a note of listing documents transferred. Right now, we are working on the listing documents. The log does keep track of who is logged into the platform for accountability. So I'm going to go ahead and click send. I'm going to still keep this instance open because I need to know now, once they get here in the new platform, where do I reassign them to? So I've got to give it a little bit of time for the documents to transfer. I'm going to click on documents. I see that they're there, and now I have my 4 documents and my 4 documents. They transfer over in the sequence that they were in. When I hover over the paperclip in the old instance, it tells me that that first document is an MLS listing sheet, a deed, a property disclosure, and the marketing agreement. So now I can go here, assign MLS listing sheet, assign. Deed, assign. Disclosures are called property disclosures and listing agreement. Which was called what? Marketing agreement. And assign. So when I look at it, all 4 exactly the same, all is good. So now I'm going to click over to the checklist in the old instance as well as in the new instance. And I'm going to match this up as much as close as possible. So the marketing agreement, the affinity title required, nothing needs to be done there. But for the next one, the marketing agreement, I need to retype whatever is here. If I open that up, I can see what could possibly be cut off. And I can copy that and paste that into the new instance. Once I've pasted anything in, I need to go to save. And then since this is green and this is red, I can go in and accept it. The next one, there's no note. All I need to do is click accept. Property disclosure is accept, and deed is accept. So now I have matching fills where I uploaded documents, but it doesn't end there. You need to scroll down and look at Skylight Insurance. They have an N there. So I'm going to click save. Make sure anytime you type anything in, you click save. And all is done. So the last step that needs to happen is the stage. So the stage here is in admin stage. I need to change this to admin. Once that is completed, then I'm going to make sure I copy this email address one more time. I can grab it from my Excel document, and I'm going to click on log. From log, I'm going to go to email log. I'm going to paste in the email address, and I'm going to say log transferred. and send. At this point, I need to wait in the old instance until it has sent, or it will not send if I would log out beforehand. Sometimes the file transfer of that log can take a minute. Other times it takes about 5 seconds, which is what we saw here. So that is for an active listing, active to active status. A couple notes to point out. I'm going to pull up one in here that most likely will have a lot of data. And so that was a very simple one, 4 documents, less than normal. So another one we're going to look at is 1836 Euclid, 1836 Euclid. It is still in an active status, so we can move forward. And we're going to go here and 1836 Euclid. It's not in this platform yet. So we're going to start over, and we're going to go back to manage listings. We're going to go to create listing, enter the listing. I'm going to copy that address from the Excel, paste it in. There it is. I'm going to check to make sure Avenue Street, all of that is accurate. And I'm going to say, let's go. If it's not a match, switch to manual entry. So the agent on this property is Kim Wirtz. And we're going to do a Illinois listing for sale. And it is listed for $199,900. And the commission is at 2 and 2.5. There is no co-list. The listing date is 02/10/2022, and the expiration is 08/09/2022. And the seller is Dave Ashley. And according to this, there's only the one. And we go to create my listing. So of course you would go through the same thing. You would check your listing, but what I want to show you is that in the documents for the old listing, there's a lot of documents whenever we have a file with Kim. Some of our files, we have Outlook signature. Those types of files do not need to be transferred. Anything that would say Outlook signature. But any document, whether it is assigned or not, must be transferred. So I'm going to select all of those documents. I'm going to copy that email address. And I'm going to go to email. That in there, listing documents transferred, and send. And there are times when we will get our email is too large. The system has a 25 meg capacity for transferring documents. If we are transferring documents and we run into that problem, it's best that we first transfer the documents that have been assigned and assign those, and then go back and transfer the documents that have not been assigned. Again, the ones that are the Outlook signature, those do not need to be transferred. So I'm going to go back to this one. Of course, I would go in, update all of this information. I'm going to go back to my documents and they are there. And I'm going to match up what has been assigned here. So it's the last 5 have been assigned. So I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to select it. I'm going to go here. I know this is the residential, but you can, I'm sorry, this is the listing agreement. So it's best to never assume. Always hover over that paperclip to make sure that the name matches where they assigned the document. So once that is all done, and I am going to go ahead and finish assigning these so that I am done. Once that is all done, all right. So those are assigned. Of course, we need to go back into the checklist and approve them and complete the process. But not all documents will be assigned. If they're not assigned here, they're not assigned here. If I have 5 here, I need 5 there. All right, so we went in and we updated a couple files. And if I can get my Excel to move over, the last step that we need to do, and we should be doing this as we go along, we should go in and say that the status has been updated. The listing documents were assigned. The log was transferred from the old to the new, and the listing documents were transferred. It was entered into SkySlope on 2/14. Again, I generally would be doing that as I'm going through the process so that I remember to do everything. The change to pending, if we have an active listing that has moved to a pending status, all we need to do is put in column A, change to pending as yes, and then move on. Don't do anything with that file at this point. And that is it on a new listing that is from an active status in the old instance to an active status in the new instance.